because what we're trying to do is get it done in this year by September. And so therefore, at RECO, the 20 megawatts of temporary power is going to be up at Jigo, next to the existing site. And so what we'll do now is go ahead and as part of their RECO contract on temporary power, they would also assist us in repairing about 14 other units so we can get Jigo diesel from the 8 megawatts that it is now to 20 megawatts. And therefore, after that, the plan is to look at potentially relocate those units to other load centers throughout the island, schools or other areas so we can utilize them. We don't need all 40 megawatts in the south to feed the entire south. California is 8 megawatts plus the 20 is 28, and depending on how many units from Benjo we keep, that should be more than adequate to feed the southern part of the island.
But isn't this docket supposed to have not just the southern rather than the entire island?
That's correct, but after a storm, if there's major transmission lines problems, then we'll have to fix the transmission line before we can start feeding the southern villages. So by having the power there, we can just begin from there and just keep fixing the distribution lines. We don't have to wait, like in the past, we always have to wait. We have to get all the way to Talapoco, we have to go all the way down towards Benjo, but this will provide that. It's almost like a second grid that we can operate separately. We don't have to tie in the two systems until we get the transmission.
And my last question is also on community approval will go out.
Let me see, I think we're ready. We're still finalizing the design and all of that, but it should be going out within about another month or so. Yeah, our plan is to try and get it up by September.
Now, once again, with the original Greco, which was around 39 megawatts, we're just resurrecting about half of that, just 20 megawatts, and putting it, relocating that down to General Vista.
That's correct. That's also part of our capacity recovery plan is to fix whatever the remaining, all of the other units, fix whatever's remaining.
Probably have to cannibalize some of them and mix and match just to try to get this 20 up and running.
And with Greco there, they can bring us the technical expertise, the Cummings and all of that, so then they can give us an idea. Spending some money, make it could get us to repair some of those units.
And then in replacement for the other 20 that you won't be fixing up, that's where the temporary power comes in to bring that back up to Jigo. That's it, yeah. Okay. Anything else? No?
I just have a question on the, the factors that the council went through. I can definitely see the prudence necessary. But one thing on the reasonableness, giving the estimated cost. And I see the reasons or the components that lead to the 13 million figure, which is 7 million for the repairs, and then 2 to 3 million per year to operate. But I just wonder what the basis is for reasonableness based on those amounts. Was there an analysis of kind of the normal cost of repairing units or comparison to other projects?
Well, these are 1 megawatt units. And so I know that in the previous docket, where I did a study, it was just a really cursory internet study. And this was for the sewage diesel generators. I know that just coming up with, I think 29 of them was already like 7 million. And that didn't include, the GPA had estimated the cost would be like 9 million to procure these generators. Now, granted, none of them were 1 megawatt, but some did come close, somewhere in excess of 500 watts or something like that. But so based on that, I saw that just to repair or replace some of the 1 megawatts, that's kind of where I saw at least the figure to basically fix or replace these existing generators would have been reasonable. I didn't put that there, but that's kind of the basis for that. Further, I know that for the Cabarrus 1 and 2, I want to say that the O&M, and John can correct me if I'm wrong, was close to, is it 3 to 5 million or something? Cabarrus 1 and 2 for the PMC contract?
Yeah, right now it's about close to 3 million.
Yeah, and Cabarrus, so I looked at that and I said, okay, so it was around the same that we're already spending on, and that's just for the operation, for the PMC. So based on that information, and I didn't articulate it well enough, I apologize. I'll be better next time. But that's kind of the basis for my finding that the repair replacement was reasonable. Likewise, the operational cost was reasonable. Thank you.
Then the only other comment I have is the order. I said on paragraph 5 of the order. And maybe, and I just don't understand the locations of the different equipment, but it says that GPA has determined that the current site of the GPA is the optimal site. Locate this temporary power generation capacity. But the plan is actually to relocate it, right?
Well, there's two plans. So the first plan is we're going to take the 20 of the existing 1 megawatt GIGO units, and we're going to relocate them down to Tenjo Vista. And that frees up space at the GIGO site. That's where they're going to put the 20 megawatts of temporary generating power capacity. So this is kind of part of that overall plan to get the new power generation or the emergency power generation in, and also to increase the power generation capacity by additional 20 megawatts by replacing or repairing these units and relocating them at the Tenjo Vista.
Their motion.
Motion to approve?
Thank you, Joe. Second?
Second.
Rowena seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Next item. EPA docket 2412, petition of the Guam Power Authority to approve the 2 consecutive year extensions of the residual fuel oil number 6 supply contract with Hyundai Corporation. We have an ALJ report and a proposed order. I believe this is yours, Joe Beck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in 2020, the PUC authorized GPA to procure a new contract for the supply of the residual fuel oil number 6 for its baseload power generating plants. It requires the use of, according to GPA, it requires the use of between 1 million barrels to 2 million barrels of this RFO to operate its Cabarrus units. And so in GPA docket 20-17, this commission authorized the subject contract between GPA and Hyundai. And as indicated in GPA's petition, GPA exercised one of the options to renew, which expires this year in August 31st, 2024. And so the request is to extend the contract through August 31st, 2026. And in preparation of the subsequent renewal, GPA has negotiated with Hyundai a lower premium fee. In particular, the parties have agreed to lower their premium fee by about $4 from $79 to $75 per metric ton of RFO. And according to GPA, the renegotiation of this premium fee could potentially save ratepayers approximately $1 million over the course of the next 2 years. And so they estimate that the cost for an additional 2-year term will be about $213,686,333, and that this estimation is based on the purchase of about 1.6 million barrels of RFO through August 31st, 2026. They also estimate that for just one additional year of the contract, it would be about $156,803,727. Now, GPA maintains that because of the damaging effects of Typhoon Mauer last year, the commissioning of the new Ukudu power plant will certainly be delayed. And so this delay will necessitate the continuous need for RFO to fuel GPA's Cabrus 1 and Cabrus 2 baseload units for the next 2 years until the Ukudu power plant is ready to be initiated. The incident request, Mr. Chairman, is supported by CCU Resolution GPA fiscal year 2024-12, which authorized GPA to enter into an additional 2 years for the supply of this RFO, and again at a cost of $213,686,333. And as indicated in my report, certainly RFO is essential to GPA's operations since it is utilized to fire the baseload power generating plants. And as indicated by GPA, it needs about between 1 million to 2 million barrels of RFO fuel to operate those plants. And that without this fuel, I mean, we can only assume that GPA will be unable to provide the necessary generation capacity needed for a stable and uninterrupted supply of electricity for the island. And again, through its negotiating efforts, GPA was able to lessen the premium fee by $4, which, according to its math, will save roughly about $1 million over the course of 2 years. And so this contract for RFO ensures that GPA has a continuous supply of this fuel to the Cabrus baseload generators, which is obviously necessary for GPA to perform its electric power generation near or close to or at capacity. And so based on this record, Mr. Chairman, I recommended that the PUC authorize GPA to go ahead and extend the current contract with Hyundai for RFO number 6 fuel.
Thank you, Joe Beck. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as our Hyundai has been supplying our gas for some time now, but more importantly, at least they agreed to move forward because it's very difficult to get another contract for RFO. So the plus is, yes, there is some savings, but because of the delay of the commissioning of Ukudu, which would have been in 2024, it's now looking that, of course, on the record now they're saying January 2026, but as I have noted, we've negotiated an amendment to the ECA to accelerate that to about September 30, 2025, and as early as September 15, 2025. And that's something we're just waiting for final amendment documents from KEPCO, and then we'll bring it forward to the CC and the PUC. But right now, this will ensure that we will have energy, oil for Cabrus 1 and 2, very specific oil, as required by, as agreed upon for the consent decree of 0.2% sulfur. And at least up to 2026 in case anything happens. But the way it's going to work is that if this commissioning is September 30, 2025, as being targeted today, then we don't expect to run Cabras 1 and 2 beyond December of 2025. So the period is for up to 2026.
Thank you, John. Historically, I believe this has always been the government of Guam's largest contract, and now we're looking at the end of the road with this at some point in time in the not too distant future. We won't be buying any more RFO.
That's correct, and as we all know today, it's very expensive because of the agreement, the consent decree of burning 0.2%. It's about $25 a barrel more expensive than ultra-low sulfur diesel, which used, so it's a substantial cost to us for clean air, and we had hoped it would have been gone this year, but we still got another year away.
The RFO is more expensive than the ultra-low sulfur diesel right now?
Yep, 0.2% sulfur, because how do you bring it from the low sulfur we were buying before was 1.19%. So how do you bring it down to 0.2%? You mix it with a lot of diesel. So therefore, it's not just the cost of additional diesel, ultra-low sulfur diesel, right? But also the process of blending it and everything to bring. So therefore, there's a premium for all of that. The reason why we had to go to 0.2% is because of the National Ambient Air Quality Standard coming into place in 2024. And 2023, I'm not getting my date, my little mixed up, but that was one of the hard and fast red lines of US EPA that we had to be compliant with that. And to be compliant, we have to burn 0.2%. Yeah, today we would have been burning, if you consider we're burning about $105, average of $105 a barrel today for low sulfur diesel. We would have been burning we're bringing in RFO for about 80, 85.
Yeah.
But that's long gone already.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Okuru, when it comes in, even though it's $105 a barrel, we're going to save some money also from Cabras. But also its efficiency is going to drop our costs tremendously.
Thank you, John. Anything from the commission?
So the date moves up to September of 2025. That'll mean 1 year and 1 month for RFO purchases.
I'm sorry.
More than that. September.
This contract is August to August.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah. So this contract is 2 extensions to August 26, right?
That's correct. Just to be on the safe side of things, because again, we don't have them on contracts on board, and then if we don't buy it, we don't have to buy it.
So if we don't buy it, there's additional savings.
But at least the key here is that we do have a supplier, a firm supplier, up until at least the time we retire Cabras 1 and 2. It'd be so hard, it'd be very difficult just to put it in cost more, just to try and get somebody to bring it in.
And at the end, John, I guess it'll require a little bit of timing as to when you empty the tank. Then you'll need to clean out that final tank and convert that to ultra-low sulfur diesel like the other one.
The good news is that when we say September 30, 2025, that's the COD date, commissioning on date. That's when the contract begins, the payment of the fixed fee and all of that, but also that's when the penalties and everything begin on the other side. part of that, they will have to start testing the units in about February or March. So you will basically know how strong the units are by the summer. So therefore, what you'll be doing is just spacing it out. So the quicker that we retire cappers, the quicker we can save some money.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. But again, we just want to make sure we cover the other end of it in case something else happens. So the plan is to try and time this and empty all the tanks, because no matter which way, if we have to buy too much inventory, we're gonna have to burn it. We're gonna have to eat that
Gonna
cost.
burn it out.
Right, so we have to burn everything out at the end, then bring down cappers and retire it. And USEPA have given us 6 months to do that from September, from the commissioning date of Okudu. So we're not gonna wait 6 months, we're gonna do it as soon as we can.
And when we do finally close the chapter on cab 1 and 2, you're not going to be able to have the ability to burn any more waste oil, I guess.
Actually, today we're kind of not burning any more waste oil.
You ship it all off island now, or?
Yes, it's in shipment, someone takes it from us and so it's not costing us anymore. The good news is that we really, by burning 0.2%, it helps our unit also. And so, the other thing the other component that was having us burn a lot of waste oil or used oil. Sometimes say waste oil is hazardous, but the used oil is the PD 8 and 9. They have to remove the slots and everything from the unit, and to be able to burn on those diesel type unit. So we were taking that over also, but because we were burning ultra low sulfur diesel today, we don't have that volume anymore. So it's really very little, if any. Most of it has just been shipping out. Even the port brought it to us and we had it shipped out.
And there's a value to that product by a buyer?
Yeah, there's a value because then there's still BTU in the US oil, so they go and they refine it, and obviously they do make some profit from it. And the value to us is that
You don't have to deal with it here anymore.
we don't have to deal with it because the BTU of it is not as high as the other units.
Is there a motion? Any other comments?
I just, before I might make the motion, just ask a question. I mean, probably the only one that doesn't understand this, and I'm just, maybe I can get another explanation of the savings. I see that premium fee was reduced. But just from the first 3 years, total cost of $276 million. But for a 2-year extension is $213 million. So isn't that higher annual cost for those 2 years as compared to the prior 3 years?
Yeah, it's a projection of the commodity price.
Oh, okay.
Because what happens is we buy the oil based on a benchmark, the planogram for a certain product. So that goes up, down. So I think this is an estimate going forward on the what the commodity price may be in the coming years, the next 2 years. But what has not changed is the premium. The premium is good. Whatever the commodity price set by the planogram, the worldwide cost, we have the premium of $19 or so, and then that's the price that we gave for the fuel.
And you don't have the ability to burn 2 different types of RFOs like you used to anymore because you only have 1 tank. It used to be you did a high sulfur and a low sulfur. And now this one, I guess, is even a lower sulfur than the original low sulfur used to burn. Is that correct?
That's correct, because the other thing, they're still being rehabilitated. I think, so and at some point soon, we're going to be filling up one, no? Because with the commissioning of Okudu and the beginning of the testing, say in February 2025, we have to have the diesel plus also to fill up the tanks of the Okudu.
So once again, Mike, the product that they're buying for the next 2 years is a little modified from what they were buying the first 3 years.
Yeah. So this is our estimate. The one thing that does not change is the premium. The other one is it's the benchmark. Just like the gasoline, they have a benchmark, so that goes up, it goes up here. But everyone still makes the margins, the shipping costs and everything.
Thank you, John.
I move to approve the contract extension as proposed in the board.
Second,
Second.
Joe seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously. Next item is GPA docket number 2413, petition of the Guam Power Authority to approve the extension of the ultra-low sulfur diesel storage lease agreement with TriStar Terminals Guam. We have an ALJ report and a proposed order. I believe this is yours also, Joe.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. So this docket concerns, as you mentioned, GPA's request to extend the TriStar storage tank leases through June 30th, 2026. And according to GPA, its lease of tank 1906 and tank 1907 is set to expire this summer. And it maintains that the extension of the ultra-low sulfur diesel storage lease agreement with TriStar is necessary in order to ensure the uninterrupted supply of ultra-low sulfur diesel to certain power plants, namely the Tenjo Vista, PD7, PD8, and PD9 plants. Now, based on the proposed amendment to the contract that would extend the lease term through June 30th, 2026, the storage fees will continue to remain at $98,000 per month, and that I would note that these fees have remained the same since 2018. There's also an added provision in the amendment that allows GPA to terminate the contract prior to the expiration of the term if the parties so consent. And so with this provision, GPA will be allowed some flexibility should it no longer need that capacity for storage. Now, according to GPA, an additional 25 months at $98,000 per month for tank 1906 will cost about $2.45 million, and that an additional 24 months, again at $98,000 per month for tank 1907, will cost $2.352 million. And so, with this request, GPA is requesting authorization for about $4.802 million for this extension. This request, Mr. Chairman, is supported, of course, by the CCU, where it found that the TriStar terminal tanks are the only tanks suitable for the bulk storage of this fuel. It noted that since tank 1934 and tank 1935 are expected to be fully converted to store ultra-low sulfur diesel in 2026, the continued use of tank 1906 and tank 1907 is necessary in order to again power the plants in Tenjo Vista, PD7, 8, and 9. And so the CCU approved the contract extensions for both these tanks to expire on June 30th, 2026, and authorize the expenditure of the $4.8 million for this additional term. And so based on this record, Mr. Chairman, I found the extension necessary in as much as GPA is ensured an uninterrupted supply of ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel to these power plants. And I believe that this commission, we've been down this path several times in several dockets. And we're all well aware that GPA has little choice but to utilize the storage tanks of TriStar, as no other alternatives appear available to GPA, at least at this time. And so based on this record, I recommended that the PUC approve the extension, the lease extension with TriStar at a total cost of $4.802 million for the term that expires on June 30th, 2026.
Thank you, Joe. Comments, Sean?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, again, all of this are related to the delay by the commissioning of Okudu Power Plant. So we use the TriStar tanks now to provide auto low sulfur diesel to PD 8 and 9, no? Since July 2022. And the two large storage tanks that we have, the schedule, current schedule is to have tank number 1935 commissioned around May of this year, and 1934 by the end of December 2024. And again, one tank for sure is needed right away so that we can service field to Okudu. We can't just bring it in from the tanker and pump it all the way up to Okudu. We gotta have a big storage. So that's why one of those tanks is critical. One of our GPA storage tanks is critical to be completed by this year so that we can serve oil up for the beginning of the testing phases of the Okudu power plant in the beginning of 2025. In the meantime, the TriStars will provide additional reserve of oil required until the second tank has been completely tested. And again, the second tank, 1934, still tentative for December of 2025 because there's still work to be done there. So that's why, again, and this is another case where when we're done, we'll terminate the contract. We don't have to go all the way up to 2026. But as we look ahead, seeing what could potentially occur, we try to cover that situation as best we can.
Thank you, John. John, are you gonna have two fuel tanks up in the yard in Okudu?
Yeah, yes, two fuel tanks having a total of about, I stand corrected, I know someone will correct me if I'm wrong here, about 180,000 barrels.
Okay.
That's the equivalent of about one month of operation of Okudu at 100%.
For one tank?
No, the two tanks that they're holding up, they hold 180,000 barrels. So that allows us a whole month of 100% operation. And again, that's in the event of a tsunami or something. I mean, you know, we haven't had it for 40 years, right? But again, there's always the potential of a tsunami, right? So that's why we decided we're going to agree to have that amount of storage out there. So the ones down at Cavasu, again, will be the main storage facility.
Yeah.
We may, and again, even the TriStar, I try not to think too far ahead, but unfortunately it always seems to happen. If now we keep another 100,000 barrels up there for reserve, just in case, for the other plant, like PD and other areas. So that's something that we'll have to analyze more. Maybe even look at it whether we buy one tank up there. But again, right now, we'll have an adequate capacity when these two tanks come. And we can say, we'll buy a TriStar and, you know, live with the risk, additional risk, cross that as we go further.
John, in the event that we do use the dual fuel up there and one day run on natural gas, are those fuel tanks capable of holding natural gas, or this will be on demand from the pipeline out of the port?
Yes, there's two ways to bring in natural gas, but one is to build. You have to build. It's a special type of tank. You know? The issue with that becomes that once you build it, you cannot expand it. You know, you have to whatever you build, you're going to need more capacity. Build another tank. It's not like that. So what we're thinking about is that looking at floating storage and regasification facilities.
Yeah.
And converted ships into natural gas ships into floating storage facilities. That way, you just worry about the again, you berth it, then run the pipeline to the ship and run it up to Ubud.
Yeah.
In that respect, then what you also will do is contract contract someone to operate and maintain and provide that for whatever 20 or 25 years. Because we certainly don't have the expertise to operate that.
Yeah.
So Malta has the same scenario. Malta has really coincidental to us. They have 198 megawatts combined cycle. And then just about 300-400 feet away, they have a floating storage. They don't own it. It's under a lease contract with somebody else. So if the study that we're doing, that the commission also approved recently, that will determine, do we do a storage tank or do we do the floating storage and where would we locate it?
Thank you, John.
So, but for sure, if we do go to natural gas, you won't need what do you call it, TriStar anymore.
Yeah.
Because you have that ship.
That's where the storage will be on the ship. Any other comments from the commission? Their motion?
Move to approve.
Rowena approves, second.
Okay.
Joe seconds, all in favor say aye. The motion passes unanimously. Next item, GPA docket number 2414, petition of the Guam Power Authority to approve procurement of supply of ultra-low sulfur diesel for the various power generating plant site locations. We have an ALJ report and a proposed order. I think this is yours also, Joe.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. And as you mentioned, this docket concerns GPA's procurement of supply of ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel oil, but specifically, it looks like they're and as this commission may be aware, GPA currently maintains and operates several units that use diesel fuel oil number 2, which include generators at 4 site locations. First is Gigo combustion turbine and Gigo diesel. The second is Dedido and Macheche combustion turbines. And then the last would be Cabras 1 and 2 and PD7, and the Menangan and Talafofo locations. And according to GPA, its current contract for diesel number 2 will expire at the end of this year, December 31st, 2024. And so the subject procurement intends to solicit bids for a supply of diesel number 2 fuel. And similar to what it did before, GPA plans to issue a multi-step IFB between March and April of this year, and that the supply contract will be for an initial term of 3 years, which then will allow for a 2-year annual additional term. And according to the IFB, which we've looked at, the bidders are required to provide a bid price for each year of the contract specified in the price proposal form. And pursuant to the proposed contract, which we also looked at, the contractor will be required to deliver the fuel oil to points of delivery directed by GPA, and in such quantities also required by GPA. The proposed contract also includes a provision that allows the contractor to source fuel oil from other vendors in order to guarantee fuel oil supply security. And there's also a provision that allows GPA to seek an alternative source of fuel oil from another vendor should the contractor be unable to fill its obligations. And in such an instance, the contractor will be liable to GPA for the difference in the cost of fuel oil. GPA has indicated that it has utilized about 46 million gallons of diesel number 2 in fiscal year 2022, and about 39 million gallons of the same fuel in fiscal year 2023. And so, based on this growth, GPA estimated upwards of about 55.5 million gallons of fuel in order to supply all 4 site locations. And Mr. Chairman, this petition is supported again by the CCU, which authorized GPA to issue an IFB to procure the bulk supply of diesel number 2 fuel oil. And we found certainly that this fuel is essential for GPA's operations, since it is utilized at various diesel-fired generators, and that without this fuel, it would be unable to provide the necessary generation capacity, especially during the times when baseload units are down. So procuring this fuel oil will help provide a stable and uninterrupted supply of electricity so that GPA can meet the island-wide power demands. And so based on this record, I found that the procurement ensures that GPA has this continuous supply of fuel to power these plants. And so I recommended that GPA be authorized to issue the multi-step IFB related to the procurement of this fuel oil.
Thank you, Jeff. John?
This is similarly to what I noted earlier, different locations, different prices, because it's really more about the delivery. The price of the fuel is a benchmark, but it's really the delivery cost from here to there. And again, to Tenjo, Chico, and all of that. So there's only been really 2 suppliers here, IP&E and Mobile, and that's what Zohar was mentioning about us being able to work with one or the other. And we've been doing that for years now. Sometimes they just don't have the capacity, because they not only supply us the fuel, but they also supply the whole island. We burn the same amount of diesel at the power plants as is burned at the service station, as is sold at the service stations today. So again, it's just a matter of the delivery costs. You'll see the WCT as a high cost. That's because they've been consuming more and more. As much as we know, you have to keep trucking several trucks a day just to keep Dedido and Jigo and the Dedido running. And so, again, all of this will go down once the Ukudu comes on the line. It's right now about 20% of our production is from the what they call the past strike, or this will go down to basically less than 1% once Okudu farms and the like. The most production will be Pukudu plus the PD 7, PD 8 and 9, the most efficient units, plus the renewables that are coming. So this again will be a temporary issue.
Thank you, John. Any other comments? Doris?
Thank you. That was my question, you define, legal, radio, Teche. We all know that powers 1 and 2 will be, retired. The maintenance will be set. So, what are the plans for those other, any of these others in
Some of them could, but we also need to, there's two things that will trigger that. Once every 4 years, the Pukudu steam turbine has to be taken down for about 30 days period of time. Once every 4 years. Yeah. Let's be taken down for 30 days to the turbine. And because it's on what you call the permitting requirement, we can run more than one of those generators for that 30 days. Otherwise, we exceed the emission permits. So what's going to drive that now is the more batteries and more renewables with batteries. That will become like a firm power. So therefore, for the 30 days, you can reduce your reserve capacity. But then I would say after the first 4 years, that's when you potentially could retire more and more of these other units. And they kind of need to be already, they're 35 years old. So that's the plan. Phase 4, again, they're all being evaluated. It's about 300 megawatts of solar PV, about 150 megawatts of energy shifting batteries. If you look at that, then 150 megawatts of energy shifting batteries could be considered as another generator because they will run for 4 or 5 hours at that capacity. What I like to say is, at least for the first few years, I think I would consider half of that to be firm capacity, so that they show their work after 2 years. So that's 75 megawatts of capacity that now you can retire 75 megawatts of additional. So at the end, so what we're going to end up with. And then we're talking about probably towards the end of this decade, my thoughts. And I probably won't be around then, so don't worry. But it's that, again, with the batteries and everything, you only have PD 8 and 9 plus the Okudu, or some of the other units, the smaller generators, and Okudu, plus the batteries. Everything else will start to be retired, but you're still going to need that conventional unit plus energy storage batteries. And so, if we awarded phase 4 as it is today, if they all could accomplish it as they say they will, and at the cost that they have submitted, that would bring us to 50% renewable by the end of 20. Wait, I know Jennifer will connect me. 24, 25, 26, 26, the end of 2027. That's several years ahead of the 2030 goal. And that will provide us now I'm sorry, I'm maybe going off on a tangent, but that will provide us strong heads against anything happening on the price of ultra low sulfur diesel, which has gone up to almost $200 a barrel. Huh? So with this hedge, you're not going to see the 31 cents for Leah. You're talking about anywhere at the high point, that much per barrel, maybe about 18 or 19 cents, no? But not any more than the 31. So,
Are we doing any more hedging at all on fuel?
no, no, it's a different.
So the solar is going to be our hedge.
Solar is going to be our hedge, and I'll show that in the, because as I look ahead, battery prices had gone up, and so that's why the prices that are coming in were 17.9 cents. But when you consider it as a hedge, because it only escalates at 1%, and if you have 50% of them, that means no matter whatever the price of oil, that's 50% is not going to impact. That means that the money starts to stay in Guam, no? Because now you have people working for the solar plants and all that versus oil just comes in here and goes out, no? Draining the economy. So it has not more than a positive impact on just for the ratepayers, but for everyone in the island community. So that's a work in progress. We're trying to get that done by this summer. Because, I mean, they have to go through a rigorous evaluation, make sure that what they're bringing in can operate with the grid. So this is where we're heading.
I know at one time we were targeting a reserve margin here on the island of 40%. It's a harder number to come up with now with solar being in the equation in the future. But are you still looking at something of that nature in the 40% range?
Well, again, we still need about the 200 megawatts, no, I'm not quite sure. I'll have to take a look at it, and I'll get back to you. But again, the reserve requirement now is maybe still 40% or whatever, but the reserve requirement now would include batteries instead of hardcore, because it's the peak, and then we're still gonna need the two largest unit and minimum. So the two largest unit is the 63 megawatts times 2. That's the Ukudu 45 plus the steam turbine component. The 63 megawatts times 220 megawatts. The load goes up, of course. Your load goes up. That reserve. No, your load goes up, that means your reserves comes down because it's going to be replaced by batteries, and the batteries again is great cost. So by the way, we have opened a tangent. In our request to DOD, FEMA, and everyone, we requested $6.4 billion for transmission lines, underground transmission lines, underground distribution lines for the water, wastewater, and the communication system. We requested for 180 megawatts for 5 hour, 180 megawatt batteries, about $500 million worth as part of that. But even if we didn't do that, the next phase really is, I won't want to go out and try to get 180 megawatts, but we might consider coming to the CCN Commission for about 45 or 90 megawatts of battery. That's why, instead of having 10,000 batteries on the island, everyone having to have a battery, you have centralized storage battery. And you let that catch the energy, because the ductwork is only produced in the daytime. If you don't catch the ductwork, you're going to have to shut down Okudu and all of that. So it's not the best use of the cost. So eventually, if you do it, the cost is less than 2 cents a kilowatt hour. It's spread out, that's a huge savings. The cost of battery under renewable now is about 6 cents per kilowatt hour. So it's a huge savings also for everyone. And if we did centralized storage battery for even 2 cents a kilowatt hour, now you can bring in just a solar PV plant for probably about 11 cents. Plus the 2, there's still 13 versus what we'll be paying around 16 to 17. So that's why the centralized storage battery now will help again begin to lower our costs.
Thank you, John.
I still have one more.
Go ahead, George.
Sure.
Okay. We'll cross that bridge later on.
Yes.
What I didn't understand here is that, it said, 46 million gallons of diesel was in FY 22, then 39, so we're drop 39 to 39 million gallons in FY 22. And then, that was in part due to Marwar. How did we jump to almost $56 million for the full year? So if we discount the 39 and 22, we were going from 46 million to 56, almost 56 million. So that to me is a significant increase. So how did you come up with 55 million gallons that you were going to use when the high point was 46 million? Is 55 for a contract year or for the total term of the contract?
Per year.
Oh, it says per year, yeah. So I'm coming from 46 million to almost 56 million, that's 10 million gallons more. Is our growth that high? Because I know Wawa, during the time, you guys were,
Yeah.
we didn't have power for like 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, but again, this is really moving forward is our estimate based on how things may operate. Right now what year was it that we had 46 FY 2022? Right now we're running derivative diesel every day, so that derivative CT every day because we didn't have Jigu CT, and so this is our best estimate at this time. But the way it works, is that again it's really overpaying is the premium difference for delivery and all these different locations. It's a budget for us, and depending on what unit is up or down, which is projected.
They're not locked into buying the whole 55 million, I don't think. Yeah. They're just gonna buy what they need. Anything else? Your motion? Thank you, Rowena. Is there a second to that motion? Gil seconds. All in favor, say aye. Motion Motion carries unanimously. The next item is GPA docket number 2415, petition of the Guam Power Authority to approve the award of 20 megawatts for temporary power. I don't think we're quite ready for that one this evening, Mr. Grecky, but you're going to make some comments in regards to this docket. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So getting back to Anthony's earlier report, that involved taking the 39 1 megawatt units that are presently at the GECO, moving them to Tenjo. But what's going to be at Tenjo is a new proposed temporary power, 20 megawatts. The reason GPA gives for this is that, of course, there was load shedding most at the end of last year. We're in the cool season now, but when shortly the warmer season comes, we could well have deficiency in the load capacity. So this proposal is for 20 megawatts of new power at the GECO CP site. And I've been working quite closely with GPA legal counsel, Ms. Wallachuk, since the beginning of February. It's had kind of a rocky time going through the legislature. There have been a lot of revisions. Actually, the original emergency procurement law turned out not to be really effective to allow GPA to do this 20 megawatt project. So there have to be revisions to one of GPA's statutes that allow for the procurement of temporary power. And the legislature is still kind of tied up in that. It wasn't clear when the hearing would be. GPA and GM Benavente made efforts to meet with the speaker, but finally now there's a date scheduled. The legislature will consider Bill 206, and that is on March 6th. The Bill 206 would basically authorize GPA to proceed with this emergency procurement of 20 new megawatts. And those 20 new megawatts, what they are or how they work, I think in some ways it's up to the contractor to provide the solution there. However, the reason this isn't before you tonight is that there's still 3 prerequisites before the temporary power can be approved. Number 1, Bill 206 has to pass. If it doesn't pass, GPA won't be able to do this project. Number 2, the governor has to approve the contract. And there has already been a bid for this, so there's a contemplated contract. The governor has to actually approve the proposed contract. And thirdly, the Attorney General will review the contract as to form and legality. Hopefully those will all occur soon, and I will continue to work closely with Ms. Wallachuk to assist with action as soon as possible.
Thank you, Brett. Any comments, Sean?
Where do I begin, right? First of all, yeah, a lot of work was going into to get this contract awarded. The commission may recall I asked for 40 megawatts. The price was not, couldn't afford it, 40 megawatts. It was almost $20 million a year. So we worked it to 20 megawatts. No? So the 20 megawatts, if you look today, correct, LOJ is correct, that those conditions have to be met. If you look at what it will cost us, it's down to about 10 million or so, a little over 10 million per year for the 20 megawatts. That we could afford, as I noted when we came into requesting for the 40, is that we're not going to impact rates for getting the temporary power. We were going to pay for it through the whatever funds that we had at GPA. So, but unfortunately, as the process went through, as we seek for the governor's signature and all of this, their councils also noted that, you know, the 60 to 90 days. does not match up with our 2-year base load requirement, 2-year base contract requirement. That's the amount of time that we, at a minimum, we need to have a Greco on the line for us. So that's why there's been attempts for several months to try and get Bill 201, Bill 206 to assist the utility in getting power, because as I've always noted, by May, demand is going to go up, and with the capacity we have, if you look back in September, October, November, that's when we had a lot of load shedding. Those are similar type of demand periods. No? And so, therefore, the latest is Bill 206. 201 kind of fell to the wayside. Okay, Bill 206, as ALJ attorney Ricky mentioned, if we don't have Bill 206, we're kind of, for this type of work, or this type of, for this temporary power, we're kind of dead in the water, if you will. We'll have to go out and try something else. Dead in the water means we're not going to have these units up within the 100 days that we are contracting. They'll get it up quicker because we're already doing some work to prepare the sites, and that's why earlier we talked about the Chico site being the best site, because we just move out the units, clean it, and everything, then you bring it in and pop it in, and you can get it on faster. But we have to have the contract, so it's taking longer for us to get the contract and at least to put in the machines. But again, we need to do it now if we're going to hit the May time frame. So yes, the speaker has set March 6th at 9 a.m. as the emergency session for temporary power. And so we're working to try and get all the senators on board to award that contract. Here the governor will sign it, and therefore we get, then of course the PUC, I asked that we find a mechanism maybe that if all these things happen, the PUC can immediately act on approving the contract and move, and so that I can get the machinery rolling. If we wait too long, they can have these machines just waiting for us, no? So they're already saying maybe we have to allocate them to somebody else in meeting, So that's the concern I have. If you look at the numbers, although we'll be paying, for example, year one, we'll be paying, let's see what we're saying, annual cost of 9.8 million for that first year. But there's fuel savings, because now if you run these machines, they're more efficient than you do in other areas. There's a fuel savings of about 6 million. Therefore, the net cost to us is $3 to $4 million. So there, the overall, the plan is good for us. The savings of fuel is going to go directly to the LEA. It's going to go to the ratepayers. It's not going to go to GPA. GPA will put the bill, and the ratepayers will benefit from the LEA adjustment. So it's a good thing overall. So if anything, I hope the legislature approves the contract as soon as possible so I can get going. But again, that's one of the, it's the only way we can afford. I can afford to put 20 million out of our our base rate. But the savings, we could afford it at 10 to 12 million, so therefore there's a 6 million savings. So make it all short, Mr. Chair. Everyone can lobby for getting Bill 206. It's a one-time deal. I don't want to go back again, no? But if we don't do this, well, never say die, so we'll find something else, but just be prepared that, you know, the likely, it'd be most likely it will be short this summer.
John, does it look like you have the votes within the legislature right now? Do you have a sense that,
It's looking like it's coming together. We still have work to do. We'll have some meetings with some, senators trying to answer any questions they may have. I don't know but yeah, I think we may have, but you never know, right?
yeah,
So that's why I'm kind of cautiously optimistic.
yeah.
But this is it's a good thing. It's a good thing. We work very hard. My team,
Mics are connected to this.
now, they've been
Connected to this.
Fred knows. They've been constantly working with Fred and other teams trying to make this thing work. Our team is working real hard. We just need to get it done. We need to get this off our shoulder and work on the other stuff. Because we have a commitment to bring so many megawatts on the line by this summer. By the way, Jigu is now, has been completed. It's heading to the west coast to be shipped. We couldn't get it air freight here because although I was okay with spending a lot of money to air freight it here, but there's no certainty in delivery date. So we said ship it. So we'll be here by the end of this month. No, I'm sorry, not March yet. Tomorrow is March. So the end of March, and then we'll try and get it on the line by April 15.
Thanks, John. Doris, you had a comment?
You mentioned earlier, John, that 201, built 201, held by the base. Also, lesson learned in code 201.
I don't know that we, Bill 201 is a simple request by us, the authority, for some assistance to get through procurement laws, no? or protests. And so, thinking ahead of the game, as we move forward to fix our other generators, including what we're trying to do with Tenjo and all of these things. Somehow, I don't know, the process didn't go right. Maybe I like to say the moon was too high, too bright. I mean, I say that not because I've seen it, not in my business, right? I don't know. I cannot answer, but all I know is that, okay, fine, we move forward. So we're adjusting, Jennifer is working many ways to try and get generators, get the parts, get them fixed, and all of that. No? So here's Bill 206. In this case, before I said, oh, you probably don't need it. Well, we do need it. So we're trying to think ahead of the game, and it's not happening. But if this doesn't happen, we're gonna have to look for something else. But just as I noted back in November or December, we need to get this thing done before May. So there's not only the reliability, but as these numbers are showing, there's a huge savings for the ratepayer. Fuel cost savings, $6 million a year to get temporary power up. It costs GPA 10 million in the base rate, which of course it's not a problem. We'll do what we have to do. But it will also save the ratepayer 6 million. And it's a good deal for everybody. And thank you, and if you, again, please help us lobby and get this done, because again, our team really worked hard on this.
Thank you, John. I see we have Mr. Kim here, so, the last time when we were discussing LEAC, we wanted to have a regular monthly update, so where do we stand on under recovery right now?
Yes, we're at $33 million under recovery as of January 31st.
Okay. Thank you, John. I think that's it for GPA. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your hard work.
Thank you, Mrs.
And we have one final matter, administrative matters, notice of resignation of Commissioner Pedro Guerrero. So I think his letter is at the end here. So everybody can read it, but we're going to miss Pedro. We really appreciate his service with the commission for the last 3 years. I guess we'll be finding out who our next replacement for Mr. Guerrero will be in the not-too-distant future. One other comment I think you all know, but myself and Mr. Manzanola and Mr. McDonald were all reappointed in the legislature just recently doing this week. That sounds good. Thank you. Motion to adjourn. Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.